So I was lucky enough to be in the audience and listen to some of the great stuff you're doing with P&G right now on mobile. And given that our topic is sort of the state of mobile, I would love to hear your perspective on taking a step back holistically. I know it's kind of binary and it's not that simple, but is this a brand medium or a performance medium?
I think it's both. I think it comes down to what you're trying to achieve. I think it could be very performance driven, where there are certain aspects that take on the approach of search, but then it also is a brand building medium. I mean, I think you look at the various screens that are available for brands to activate on, and it really is what's your approach. With Procter & Gamble, I think from a brand building and messaging perspective, you look at the work that we're doing with the Olympics. That's all about building the proud sponsor of mom messaging. And then you look at some of our drive to purchase, drive to retail is very performance driven, where you have your upper and lower funnel. So I really it depends on what each brand is looking to achieve.
Yeah.
But I don't think it could be put in a silo. I think it needs to sit in both, and it does.
Well, I sort of started there because I was hopeful, that was going to be your answer, because based on what I heard yesterday, you truly are, you're working the whole way through the funnel, right? And that being said, that ties us back to what Francisco was saying a few minutes ago about this is a sea change, not a step change. It's not just another channel. I mean, what is your perspective on that, given that this is what you live and breathe every day?
It's funny because 3 years ago when we first won this business, I was told by a senior executive that there is not enough money to be mobile. And obviously things have changed. And I really see, obviously my title is mobility, but I see it as emerging media. It's just another way to engage the consumers with content. And I don't think we can really say mobile because that puts us in a silo. It's really another platform, and it must be, you have to approach it with all other mediums. When you look at the future of, talk about publishing, TV, mobility is driving the future. It's driving the growth of those mediums. And so I don't think mobile can really be its own silo. It just fits across all.
But I think the interesting thing about mobile as a channel is that it's somewhat fluid, right? Because if you follow through the funnel and continue, right, that long tail, it becomes, I believe you said yesterday it's about getting people through the whole way through the purchase funnel, right? So it actually converts and it drives usage, which is retention. It becomes a CRM platform. It is very organic and fluid. And that's not advertising, right?
No. I was blown away when I went to eBay, PayPal, and I think that they're starting to crack the code on the true power of mobility and the future of advertising. It's not about a banner. I said it yesterday and I say it all the time. My fear with mobile is it's going to be bucketed as a banner. And I care about banners, but honestly, I really don't care. That's not the important aspect for me. It's when you walk in a store and you can deliver a message to a consumer about, hey, we have a sale on, Secret deodorant. And here's an immediate coupon, just because you stepped in the door, whether it's delivered via Passbook from iBeacon or, as if it's Shopkick, whatever it is, that's another form of advertising. A consumer just doesn't, fully realize it because it's in the form of a coupon. So you can track from the moment they saw that to redemption to understand the impact of that messaging.
Do we have the tools and platforms to sort of from a POS perspective or a commerce shopping perspective that it is really as easy as lighting up the same as an FSI, right? Because to me it feels more like, that's why I say it's less about advertising. A display banner ad is pretty easy to create, but a actual application that creates a shopping experience that is targeted in store, et cetera, or drives to purchase, provides the right incentive, right time. That's software development, right?
Absolutely.
And so how does media buying fit into that equation?
I think you need to identify the right partners and learn how to integrate. So that's the beauty of mobility, is how you're saying it's not going to be advertising. It's the way that you're going to integrate with these platforms, knowing, whether it's some of your applications like a aisle 411, stuff like that. It's how do we integrate with these applications that allow us to connect to consumers in store? That's where things are going. And that's why, I even say mobility and then emerging media, because it's not just advertising, it's that experience. And how do we partner with retailers to create these robust experiences in aisle? There's some fascinating technology coming out where companies are actually utilizing technology within cameras to understand how consumers are navigating the store so that you can create an experience based on movement.
Right.
How are they looking at the shelf? There's sensors being implemented. that's where things are going, and understanding how do we position our products? What kind of message is going to resonate in a Target versus a Walmart, just based on how a consumer is experiencing that store.
Given that mobile is unique and that it's being carried so much so through the funnel to the sort of the the point and then back the end point of usage and then back around, does that mean that it's always going to sort of be separate, maybe equal, maybe greater, but like from the perspective of media planning and cross-channel planning specifically, like where does mobile fit? Does it have to become more integrated, or?
It has to. I mean, I'm going to make a bold statement. If my job exists in 6 months in its current state, then I'm not doing my job. Mobile should not be isolated. It needed to be isolated 3 years ago because you needed to have those trailblazers who are willing to define the space. Everybody likes others to define. They kind of want to wait around and have the people to do it first. So we took a step and said, we're just going to define it. But it has to be integrated. When you look at the future of publishing, whether you're using a blipper, it's all driven by mobility. TV, when you talk about second screen experiences, even Twitter amplification, it's all being enabled through a mobile phone. So it has to be integrated in order for all advertising, all experiences to evolve.
But don't you risk by pulling it more into the media mix itself? Do you not risk sort of stifling or muting some of its potential and its capabilities? Because then it becomes a process of spots and dots, filling out spreadsheets, looking at performance, you apply KPIs, cross-channel, et cetera. I mean, do we not risk perhaps losing the opportunity that mobile affords us as marketers?
I think it is a very real risk. And so what I would say is, if my job exists in its current form in my team, then we're not doing our job. You still need to have people that are focused on the emerging media, really understanding the technologies that are out there, not just meeting with different partners and understanding, oh, you have augmented reality, you have connection to consumer in aisles, but how does it apply to a brand? You need to make sure that there are still people who are evaluating and providing insight and understanding into how brands approach this, because it's a very complicated space. And once you get one person to, enter with augmented reality, you have 3,500 more that follow.
Right.
And so
nobody wants to be first, nobody wants to be last.
Exactly. I'm going to herd in the middle. It's like your little bell curve. And you still do need that expertise, but it needs to be integrated. So it's a fine balance, and I don't think anyone has really figured it out. Right now for Procter & Gamble, we're going through an entire reorganization, and we're going to take some big risks on what's the balance between integration versus still being leaders in this emerging space.
Right. So I'd love to sort of wrap at the same place we wrapped with Francisco, where we were talking about education, right? It sounds like in order for you to achieve your goal of sort of eliminating your job spec, right, and being more integrated, you're going to have to integrate, you're going to have to educate across the agency, clients, stakeholders, et cetera. How do you start that process? What's that look like?
What I've been doing for the past 3 years, 85% of my job is education. And it's not just educating SMG, it's educating creative agencies, educating clients, educating social agencies. It is 100% education. It requires a lot of patience, because you will have the same conversation 5,000 times. But you have to keep going, because there's new people that rotate on, there's new people that are brought in the mix. It's a whole nother layer of education. Then once you crack the code on mobile couponing, then it's, I need to educate on what's connection to consumers in retail. What are the various mechanisms for engaging them? It's nonstop education. And when you look at emerging media, and right now obviously mobility is occupying that space, it's changing every day. So you have to be at the forefront, and you have to kind of crack the code on what does it mean, and then translate it for everyone. Because if not, you're not going to be there.
Awesome. Thanks for your leadership, Erin.